Some of the biggest stars have been caught in scandals so explosive they should have ended careers. But here's the twist. Some of these cover-ups were so perfectly executed, even you might have forgotten they ever happened. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the scandals they don't want you to remember. But how did these scandals disappear so fast? Hollywood has a playbook for that, and it's more calculated than you think. Behind every A-listed Hollywood star caught in a career-ruining mess, there's a team of fixers working overtime to erase the damage. We're talking elite publicists, media consultants, crisis managers, and powerhouse lawyers, all paid millions to make sure a scandal doesn't stick. Celebrities' PR teams cut exclusive deals with tabloids and entertainment news outlets, offering them inside scoops in exchange for a softer spin. Suddenly, what should have been a career-ending exposé turns into a misunderstanding or a private struggle. When a cover-up isn't working fast enough, PR teams leak another celebrity's drama to shift the spotlight. And for stories that just won't die, Hollywood lawyers step in. They threaten lawsuits, slap journalists with cease and desist orders, or even buy the rights to the scandalous material just to keep it from ever being published. Some scandals are buried so well they never resurface, but others, they're just too big to contain, like the one that shook Hollywood to its core. For decades, Harvey Weinstein was one of the most powerful figures in Hollywood, a producer who could make or break careers with a single decision. He was the man behind Oscar-winning films, the industry gatekeeper that aspiring actors and directors had to impress. But behind closed doors, he was something far worse. In 2017, a bombshell New York Times investigation exposed what had been Hollywood's worst-kept secret. For over 30 years, Weinstein had been sexually harassing and assaulting women. Angelina Jolie, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Rose McGowan were just a few of the women who came forward. Weinstein paid off accusers with massive settlements, forcing them to sign non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, that buried the truth. He controlled the media, leveraging his power over major publications to kill negative stories before they could see the light of day. And when that wasn't enough, he allegedly hired ex-Mossad agents to track down and intimidate journalists, accusers, and anyone who threatened to expose him. For years, it worked, but in 2017, the New York Times and the New Yorker published undeniable evidence, and within days, the hashtag #MeToo movement exploded across social media. Studios severed ties with Weinstein, his closest allies distanced themselves, and by 2020, he was convicted of rape and sexual assault and sentenced to 23 years in prison. Unlike other Hollywood scandals that were carefully erased, this was too big to contain. Weinstein's downfall didn't just end a career. It exposed the deep corruption within the film industry, forcing Hollywood to reckon with decades of abuse hidden behind red carpets and golden statues. Weinstein's downfall changed the industry, but not every scandal ends in justice. Some celebrities try to dodge accountability entirely, like Ellen DeGeneres, whose kind image was just a cover for something much darker. For years, Ellen DeGeneres was America's sweetheart. Her talk show was all about positivity, generosity, and kindness. Then, in 2020, a shocking BuzzFeed News report exposed years of bullying, racism, and harassment behind the scenes of The Ellen Show. Employees described a toxic work environment where producers mistreated staff and where speaking up meant getting fired. Even worse, Ellen herself was accused of turning a blind eye, or worse, actively encouraging the toxic culture. But instead of owning up to it, Ellen's team did what Hollywood always does: spin the story. First, Ellen's team blamed the producers, firing 3 senior staff members to make it seem like the problem wasn't her. Then she released an apology, but instead of sounding sincere, she made excuses and even joked about it. In her season premiere, she said, "Being known as the Be Kind Lady is a tricky position to be in." Her team also brought in celebrity defenders like Kevin Hart and Katy Perry to publicly vouch for her. But that just made things worse because employees, former guests, and crew members kept exposing new details, making the cover-up impossible to contain. Major sponsors pulled out, and after 19 seasons, Ellen announced her exit, claiming she was just ready to move on. Instead of taking real accountability, the PR team underestimated the backlash, and Ellen's entire brand collapsed because of it. Ellen's downfall showed what happens when the cover-up fails, but this next one was a masterclass in how to erase a controversy before it destroys a career. At one point, James Franco was everywhere, a Hollywood golden boy, an Oscar nominee, and a respected filmmaker. But behind the scenes, things were far darker. In 2018, multiple women came forward, accusing him of exploiting young actresses through his acting school, Studio 4. Franco allegedly set up a class called Sex Scenes where students believed they'd learn how to navigate intimacy in film. Instead, many described feeling pressured into uncomfortable situations. The accusations were explosive. So why didn't this scandal destroy his career like Weinstein's? First, Franco went silent. No interviews, no social media posts, nothing. Then his team aggressively denied the claims, dismissing them as false and attention-seeking. Next, instead of letting the case go to trial, Franco settled quietly for $2.2 million in 2021. Then, after years of disappearing, Franco finally spoke out in 2021, admitting to sleeping with students, but framing it as a result of his sex addiction. Instead of a predator, he painted himself as a flawed man in recovery. At first, it seemed like Hollywood was done with him, but by 2022, Franco landed a major movie role, showing that his comeback was already in motion. But Franco didn't do it alone, because in Hollywood, every A-lister has a team of fixers working in the shadows to clean up their mess. Hollywood's biggest stars don't fight their battles alone. They have elite publicists, media consultants, and legal fixers whose only job is to bury scandals before they spiral out of control. The real power players? The studio executives and Hollywood elites who pull the strings from the shadows. When a celebrity brings in millions, studios invest in their protection, working behind closed doors to shield them from real consequences. Some scandals are so damaging that Hollywood will blacklist accusers rather than punish the guilty, and history proves it. So if Hollywood can manipulate scandals this easily, what else have they covered up that we'll never know about? Scandals don't just fade away. They're buried, rewritten, and erased by PR teams, crisis managers, and Hollywood elites who have spent decades perfecting the art of deception. Some celebrities get caught and take the fall, but others, they walk away without a scratch, protected by million-dollar legal teams and media deals that rewrite the narrative before the truth can even take hold. The question is, how many cover-ups have worked so well that we'll never even know they existed? Because one thing's for sure, there's always another secret waiting to be exposed. And if you thought this was wild, wait until you see the Hollywoods who were blacklisted from Hollywood overnight. Some vanished for good, while others fought their way back. Hit subscribe to stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.